Addy, I keep hearing about Julius Caesar and Pompey, but I never realized how personal their rivalry got. Wasn't there a point where Rome basically tore itself apart because of these two?
Oh, absolutely. And here's the wild part. Rome, the city that prided itself on never fearing anyone, actually feared two people in its history, Hannibal and a woman. But before we get to her, let's talk about how everything spiraled out of control between Caesar and Pompey.
Wait, Rome feared a woman? Who was she? And how did things get so bad between Caesar and Pompey?
We'll get to the woman, trust me, she's legendary. But first, by the mid-50s BCE, the alliance between Caesar, Pompey, and Crassus, the first triumvirate, was falling apart. It started with tragedy. Pompey's wife Julia, who was also Caesar's daughter, died in childbirth. That broke the family tie holding them together.
So their personal connection just snapped?
Exactly. And then Pompey refused to marry into Caesar's family again, choosing instead to side with the political elites, the Optimates. Meanwhile, Rome itself was descending into chaos. There were street gangs, political violence, and then this dramatic moment, a politician named Milo murdered his rival Clodius, and Clodius's supporters burned the Senate house as his funeral pyre. Total anarchy.
That sounds like something out of a movie. Was anyone actually in charge?
Not really. And to make it worse, Crassus, the third member of their alliance, decided to invade Parthia, which is basically modern Iran. It was a disaster. He got wiped out. Tens of thousands of Romans died or were captured, and Rome lost its precious military standards. That left just Caesar and Pompey, both with huge armies and egos.
So with Crassus gone, it was just a matter of time before Caesar and Pompey clashed?
Pretty much. Caesar was off conquering Gaul, think modern France, while Pompey was consolidating power in Rome. The Senate, which was supposed to keep things balanced, was split. Most senators actually wanted peace, but the hardliners wanted Caesar destroyed at any cost.
Why didn't they just compromise? Wasn't civil war the worst option?
You'd think so, right? But both sides kept escalating. Caesar offered to disarm if Pompey did too, but the Senate's hawks refused. They basically told Caesar to give up his army or be declared an enemy of the state. His supporters in Rome were kicked out, and Pompey took command of the Republican forces. That's when Caesar made his famous move. He crossed the Rubicon River in 49 BCE, which was basically declaring war on Rome itself.
That's the point of no return moment, right? Crossing the Rubicon?
Once Caesar did that, there was no going back. He marched into Italy, Pompey and the Senate fled, and the civil war was on. Caesar moved fast. He chased Pompey all the way to Greece, defeated him at the Battle of Pharsalus, and Pompey ran for his life to Egypt.
So what happened when Pompey got to Egypt? Did he get help?
Not quite. Egypt was in its own mess. The young king, Ptolemy XIII, was fighting for power against his sister and co-ruler, Cleopatra VII. Yes, that Cleopatra. When Pompey arrived, Ptolemy's advisors figured the best way to win Caesar's favor was to kill Pompey. So, as soon as Pompey stepped ashore, they murdered him.
Whoa, that's brutal. So Cleopatra was right in the middle of all this?
She was... Cleopatra had just been kicked out of Alexandria by her brother and his advisors. She was raising an army to take back her throne when Pompey showed up and got assassinated. Not long after, Caesar arrived in Egypt and Cleopatra saw her chance.
Is this where the whole Caesar and Cleopatra thing starts?
Here you go. Cleopatra famously snuck herself into Caesar's presence. Legend says she had herself smuggled in a rug or a sack and basically charmed him. Ancient sources say she wasn't the most beautiful woman ever, but her charisma was off the charts. Even Caesar, who was already past his prime and supposedly love-sated, couldn't resist her.
So Rome feared Cleopatra? That's wild. Why?
Because she was brilliant, politically savvy, and she managed to bend the most powerful men in Rome to her will. She wasn't even Egyptian by blood. She was Macedonian, descended from Alexander the Great's generals. But the Egyptian people loved her, and her alliance with Caesar changed the balance of power in the ancient world.
This is starting to sound a lot like modern power struggles, alliances, betrayals, even media spin. Is there a connection to today?
Absolutely. Think about how political rivalries today can spiral out of control, especially when personal relationships break down, or how powerful women are still seen as threats in some circles. And the way foreign alliances can tip the balance, just like Cleopatra did with Caesar, still happens all the time.
So, the Senate wanted peace, but the loudest voices pushed for war. That feels familiar? Are we still seeing that kind of dynamic now?
All the time, whether it's politics, business, or even international relations, the majority might want compromise, but a few hardliners can push everyone into conflict. And just like in Rome, it's often about ego, fear, and refusing to back down.
And the way Cleopatra was treated, admired, feared, sometimes demonized, reminds me of how powerful women are still talked about today.
Exactly. The idea that a woman could subjugate even the strongest men, that narrative still pops up, whether it's about politicians, CEOs, or celebrities. History doesn't repeat, but these patterns echo again and again.
So, Rome's civil war wasn't just about armies, it was about personal grudges, political spin, and people refusing to compromise. And Cleopatra shows how one person, especially a woman, can change the course of history.
That's right. And when you see today's headlines about political gridlock, power struggles, or the way strong women are treated, remember, these aren't new problems. They're as old as Rome itself.
It's kind of sobering, honestly, but also weirdly comforting to know we're not the first to deal with this stuff.
Exactly. If we understand how these patterns played out in the past, maybe we can avoid making the same mistakes, or at least recognize when history is about to rhyme again.
So, next time I see a political showdown or a powerful woman getting all the headlines, I'll remember Cleopatra and the chaos of Rome.
That's the spirit. The names change, but the drama, that's forever.
That's it for today's episode on Fun Learn Talks, where stories from business, technology, and history keep your curiosity alive. If you enjoyed the journey, make sure to follow, rate, or share it with a fellow curious mind. And hey, we'd love to hear from you. Drop a comment or connect with us online. I'm Anu, and I'll catch you next time, right here on Fun Learn Talks. Until then, keep learning, keep wondering.